Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Hogan and welcome back to another Draft a Day video. We are drafting 665 again today, and we opened this first pack, and man, do we have some stinkers here. We have Earth Mother here as our rare, 03 for 1 diligence, gain 1 permanent resource. I don't think this card is great. So, it's really good when you have it on the first turn of the game, obviously, but that's going to happen pretty infrequently, so I don't think that's worth the potential upside of jumping. So, like, this plays on 1, attacks on 2, diligences on 3, so you have an extra resource on 4, so, like, getting to 5 early doesn't really seem particularly great in this format. I actually really like Determined Bushy. Some of my best decks in this limited format have been aggressive decks backed by this Determined Bushy, so I think I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. Other first pickable cards in this pack are probably the Web Scribe or the Butcher. I don't know that I'd pick Web Scribe. It's a powerful Sapphire card, but it's probably not a reason to move into the Shard. Butcher's definitely a reason to start in Blood, but I think Bushy's objectively the most powerful card in this pack overall, so it's going to be my pick. As we look into this next pack here, this is actually kind of nice. There's playable cards in this pack. We've got Mooncall Ceremonies, Spearcliff, Blood's Favor, Stogabage is sometimes playable. Wimpy Banshee is playable if you draft the right deck, but this card's a lot like Rift Spasm and the other uncommons that are build around me type cards where you could pick this up and then never end up getting the supporting cards for it and just have a really awful deck. I'm going to pick the Battle Preparations up here. This Conscripts and Ardent Troop with cost 1, and then that card gets +2/+2. This card is reasonably powerful, and it's the only playable wild card in this pack, so it sends a message to the person that we're passing to that you should stay out of my wild cards. Thank you. And then here, as we get past this pack, we get past a Deepwood Draka here that says when you Conscript or Troop, it gets all the socketed powers of this. So I think we're going to start moving into the Conscript deck potentially here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up this Deepwood Draka. There's other playable wild cards in this pack, unfortunately. So we're possibly telling our opponent, the people we're passing, that's okay to do that. Crossing Swords is very good, but this is the uncommon, and it's still plenty early enough to start picking up a bunch of Conscript cards aggressively. So I think I'm going to do that. If we look at our next pack here, we get past a Call of the Deepwood, which this is a very playable wild card. So it looks like Wild's kind of open still. This is the 4th pick out of this pack, so the 3 people before us probably aren't in Wild if this made it to us. And it conscripts an Ardent or Underworld Troop here. And we've already got 1 conscript payoff, so this just moves us right along in our picks here. Would love it this Howling Planesrunner wheels back around to us. Just like 5/5 for 5 is a good rate with Crush. And then whenever it deals damage to an opposing champion, you get a Valor. Just total bomb in this format. But I definitely think the Call of the Deepwood is the priority pick here since we're trying to go for Conscripts matter. Look in this next pack here, we don't have anything too particularly exciting in here. There is Milky Yazukan static here. This is whenever you conscript an Underworld Troop, this gets invincible until end of turn. The problem with that in the conscript deck in this limited format is that you end up with things like Battle Preparations that are conscripting Ardent Troops for you that don't trigger this, and it's super, super awkward. So I don't think we really want to move into Blood for that. It's possible I just, like, pick up the Apprentice Earthcaller here, and, like, maybe we move into a Valor subs theme, or, like, we end up going Ruby Wild at some point. Maybe we open the Ruby Wild uncommon that I'm blanking on the name of right now. Yeah, I think that's okay. It's also the most playable wild card in that pack, too. No playable wilds in here. No conscript cards that are particularly good. This pack's kind of mediocre in general. Our 2 choices here are either pick up the Guardian Gralk, which is kind of a Sapphire Bomb, or pick up the Diamond's Favor, which is like playable removal / combat trick. I think I'm going to pick the Diamond's Favor up just because it's the only playable Diamond card in here, whereas if I pick the Gralk, I'm also passing a playable Sapphire card. Also, Diamond Wild plays better with the Conscripts Matters theme that we kind of have going so far. Wow. Wow, this pack's really good for us. We've got a Determined Bushy and a Sacred Stance. So, this is going to seem kind of odd, but I think I actually want to take the Determined Bushy over the Sacred Stance out of this deck. And the reason for that is, this card is very good on the second turn of the game when you're in the Conscripts Matters deck, but we only have 2 Conscript cards so far, and this card's kind of mediocre when you draw it in the late game and don't have anything else going on, whereas Bushy is a fine top deck on an empty board. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Bushy. And then I'm happy to pick up this Galleon Sentinel here. It's a 3/3 Skyguard for 4 that creates a Valor, so that works well with our Apprentice Earthcaller that we've already drafted here. It's actually shaping up pretty well. We got a bunch of really playable wild cards so far here. This is actually, I think this card's very, very good. Pretty happy to grab an Enlarge here. Target troop you control gets 2/2 and Skyguard this turn. I've almost always started an Enlarge in every wild deck that I've played in this format. It just like gives you a combat trick to punch through a slightly large blocker, and it also gives you a fine way to reach up and kill things in the air that are flying overhead. Nothing particularly exciting in this pack. I think objectively the best card. I don't even know actually. I think I'm going to grab the Orbiculon, but we're probably not playing it. We're not too excited to pick it up. By no means committed to Diamond at this point, so... But none of the other off-shard cards in that pack were worth moving into. I'm going to go ahead and grab... Part of me wants to grab this Dream Guide, because if we get some Drakas in the next pack, I really wouldn't mind playing those, I don't think. There's also this Feral Root Tactics, though, which gives a troop +4/+4, and if it's Valorous, it gets Crush. And if we're going to end up playing some Valors because of these Apprentice Earth Mothers, I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, I'm going to grab the Tactics. Dream Guide's always been kind of mediocre every time I picked it up. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Gallant Duelist here, just in case Ruby Wild looks like something that we're interested in doing here. So not quite sure if we're in Wild or Diamond yet as our secondary shard. This is shaping up to be a pretty reasonable Grandfather Elk deck. Moonglow Hunter is a fine card if we've got some Conscript Matters cards, so we'll pick that up. It's kind of mediocre otherwise if you don't care about conscripting, but if you have a couple of payoffs like Deepwood Drakas and the 1/2 Drakas, it's pretty reasonable. If we're super fortunate, that Sacred Stance is going to wheel all the way back around to us because no one else. But I'm assuming someone's going to pick it up just because like they're going to cut the archetype and there's nothing else playable in the pack. Sparkle Cap. This is actually a playable card in both of the possible shards that we can move into here. I like this card with the Valor Gem and with the Flight on Attack Gem, so not a non-zero chance we play the Sparkle Cap in this deck. This card just seems so overpriced. This feels like it was a last-minute design choice. This card costs like 2 or 3. I'm not even sure I'd play it. It's like at 4, it's obnoxiously bad. As we look at our pack here, there's nothing too terribly exciting in here. We're kind of light on removal currently. We only have exactly this Diamond's Favor. None of our uncommons are good. The only card in this pack that jumps out at me as close to playable is this Gallant Spearcliff, so I think I'm going to go ahead and pick that up and then cut this Duelist to the reserves here, and then we're probably solidly into Diamond Wild at this point. As we get past our next pack here, we actually get a few different playables in here. Wouldn't mind the Sentinel coming back around, but that card's nowhere near second pickable. Sparkle Cap and Moonglow Hunter could also potentially be playable. This Chastise is a premium removal spell, though, so I'm 10 out of 10 picking up the Chastise. It also cuts the most playable diamond card out of this pack, which is a good potential upside in addition to being a card that we definitely want to play. In our next pack here, there's a lot of different things going on here. None of them are particularly great in what we have going on. I actually don't mind playing a Staunch Resolve in an archetype like this a lot of the time. You put the Flight Gem in here, and then you just, like, put this on one of your smaller troops, especially with Determined Bushy, to just, like, steal games in the air. We already have 2 Valor producers, so I think I would actually pick up this Apprentice Earthcaller, because that's a pretty reasonable card. It's like a 2/3 for 3, which is like an okay rate, and then when you get to Valor and Cantrip, it's pretty huge. This pack's got a lot of cards we're interested in. There's a Storm Raider, a Mooncall Ceremony, and an Apprentice Earthcaller. I think I want to grab the Mooncall Ceremony just because decks like this tend to be a little bit more aggressive, and we currently only have 1, 2, 3 proactive plays before the second turn of the game, so Mooncall gives us another one of those. It also works with our Deepwood Draco, which is nice. Hopefully we get a 1/2 Draco or 2 in this pack. Would be ideal. Nothing super exciting in this pack. This might be the deck that the Cavalry is good in, honestly. I've always talked about how this card's pretty mediocre, but we've already got 2 Valor producers, and we've got 2 Valor's Matters cards, so we're probably going to be picking Valorous stuff up with a high pick priority, especially in the set 5 pack for pack 3, so I think I'm going to go ahead and grab that. There's another Valor's Matters card. This card's a total bomb. 7/5 with Crush when this attacks. If it's Valorous, other troops you control get 2/2 this turn. Like, if this is an 8/6, the rest of your troops are also unmanageable, basically. Yeah, I'm gonna grab that, see how this goes. If we get... I feel like we want 1 to 2 more Valor producers in this deck. But it's shaping up okay so far. As we look at this pack here, this do, you play Socketed card, this gets -1 cost. Nothing on shard in this pack that we're interested in, which is fine. We're like already at 18 playables, we're only part of the way into pack 2. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the Feed the Flames here since it's the most playable card in this pack, probably followed closely by Cheap Shot. We look in here, we get a Crossing Swords, which is just a premium removal spell, which is good because we only have 1 Chastise so far. Again, I mentioned that I don't really like Dream Guide, and 1 Cavalry is definitely the tippy top of that. I'm not even sure that we're going to want this 1 Cavalry, to be honest. We'll see how many more Valor producers we get. I'm going to go ahead and just grab another Feed the Flames here. Again, Tale of Trauma is not good. Awakened Herald's not something we're interested in playing either, so let's just go ahead and grab that up. Cut other people from removal. almost certainly not playing another Moonglow Hunter, so I'm going to grab this another Skyspire Scholar here to cut people off of playable cards. Remember, even though you're not guaranteed to play within your draft pod, if you're queuing in your first draft batch right after your draft finishes, you're very likely to play a match or two, so cutting playables is not a bad idea. That being said, I mentioned I would like to play Staunch Resolve, probably, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. Probably like Staunch Resolve better than this Cavalry, honestly. This Moonglow Hunter is probably also a little mediocre. I'm pretty sure the upside on having this as a bomb is worthwhile, though, so I'm going to leave that for now. Another Apprentice Earthcaller. I like that one. Let's hope to get some Valor Preachers here in this last pack so we can go to town with these Earthcallers and draw some cards. Nothing very playable in here. I guess I'll grab the Withering Gaze. It's constructed playable. No one is drafting the Dreadlings deck, it looks like. We've got like 19 theoretically playable cards here, so we're definitely going to have cuts at the end of this draft. And then we opened a non-shard bomb here in our last pack. Pesky Pipit, 3/3 with Scrounge 6 at the end of your turn. Summon a random squirrel, which only summons standard legal squirrels in draft, so you get a 7/7 Skyguard every turn. So 10 out of 10 drafting the Pesky Pipit. We could just put the Flight on attack gem in this, and it's a 3/3 flyer for 3 on turn 3 that also has just like insane upside in the mid to late game. Card's very, very good. And then this pack is actually very good for us. Would love an Acolyte Ashoku to come back around. Gust Mage is another playable Valor, but we're 10 out of 10 taking the Spring Dancer. This is just a quality troop. It's a 2/2 for 2 that creates a Valor, so it has a synergy with our Apprentice Earthcallers as well. Would love to get like 2 to 3 Spring Dancers out of this pack. Anyone that played 5/5 Limited knows that this is probably the best wild common in that format. And I had draft decks with like 5 and 6 Spring Dancers. They were always great. This pack, man, the old man, who's ever in Blood Diamond in this draft is about to lose their mind. They're going to get double Twilight Reverence, so maybe we don't want to queue in right after this draft finishes. 6/7, Crush Steadfast, deployed, gain control of all opposing artifacts and constants. Transform all artifacts and constants into seed pods. I don't know that if I'm going to play this Root Wrangler or not. Root Wrangler is pretty decent in this archetype, because we're in Diamond Wild, so we get to give this a Flight on attack gem. I feel like I just want to grab this Grove Warden to board in against decks that have constants and artifacts. I don't think I want to start it, but boarding it in seems reasonable. I think I'm going to have plenty of playables, and I'm not sure I want more 4s in my deck, so yeah, I'm going to grab the Grove Warden for now. Lamify is actually a pretty good removal spell. Revert and transform target troop into a 2/2, so you just like take their bomb and turn it into a 2/2, which is usually more than manageable. Like we've got 2/3s and stuff like that. This pack doesn't have anything particularly exciting for us. I'm going to go ahead and grab a Scouring Light here, I think, just because we might board it in if someone has a lot of constants, but We have 22 playable cards here already, so I'm not really worried about things too much. Putting a Flight Gem on Sparkle Cap so far, Flight Gem on this. Huh, this might be a deck where Strength of the Ardent playable. Target troop gets +3/+3 this turn, create a Valor and put it into your hand. I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up. That might be better than the Feral Root Tactics. I don't know, that's close. Like, this gives one more, but this gives a Valor. We're usually gonna be Ardent Allegiant, right? Yeah, almost every time. Honestly, this Deepwood Draka might just be too cute, but I guess this is like a 3-power Flight Troop as well, right? Do you have too many flight sockets? This is 1, 2... No, I have exactly 4. Okay. Maybe this Amber Spire Cavalry, we just cut this and then, like, play a lower curve. If we're curving out, topping at 4, we could also play 17 shards reasonably. I think anytime your curve stops at 4, you can probably play 17 and not feel too bad about it. Cleansing Touch is like a playable trick. Revert target card, then if you control that card, create a Valor and put it into your hand. We ended up not getting any, what's it called? Revisions in our first 2 packs, which kind of sucked. I think I'm going to pick the Dawn Scout, though. This can't be blocked by Underworld troops. This is often unblockable in a lot of board states because Underworld are pretty popular in this format. And then there's a bomb I'm willing to play for more than 4 mana. Get 3 Valors and put them into your hand. 10 out of 10 picking that up. We've got 3 Valor Spatters cards here, so I guess we could probably play the Cavalry. This going up this high in the curve makes me want to trim down a little bit, I think. Maybe the Staunch Resolve's not good enough. There's probably a touch too many tricks, honestly. Spring Blossom might be okay. I could bring that if my opponent has multiple Shackling Strands. Well, this is probably fine at this point. How many Valor Piercers am I up to now? I've got 1 Spring Dancer, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's probably okay. So I have a little bit more in this pack to go, so we are through the entire pack, so we're not getting any more Spring Dancers, which is kind of sad. Poison Arrow is like a playable combat trick. I don't think we're going to play it in the deck, but we'll cut it for now. Maybe I should have taken the Patrol Bot there, just because against the other flying decks in the format, we're likely to board that in. As far as our thresholds go in this deck, I actually don't have any double diamond cards, which is... Oh, I have 1 double diamond card here. So we'll grab the Patrol Bot this time around. This is definitely going to be a 9 wild 8 diamond deck, though, playing Grandfather Elk as the champion. Yeah, you think so? You want to come say hi to the internet? Say hi, internet. My name is Declan, and I am Precious. You showing them your foot? Is that a foot? It's a toddler foot. Toddler foot. A za? All right, we cut through the chafe here at the end. This deck feels reasonable. It's got a good, solid, aggressive curve. The two determined bushies feel good. We kind of started on a conscript theme, and that didn't pan out, but we also just, like, made sure we were drafting conscript cards that are playable. Like, Deepwood Draka, just like as a 3/2 flight for 3 is plenty reasonable. Flight on attack, sorry. And, like, if it randomly gives the Call of the Deepwood or the Moon Call Ceremony or our 1 battle preparations flight, that's fine as well. So, pretty happy. We got some good bombs, like the Pesky Pipit and the Okenge Druid here, along with the Earthcaller Apprentices are reasonable. And we've got 4 pieces of removal. We got Crossing Swords, Lamify, Diamond's Favor, and Chastise. So, this deck feels like a solid B+, maybe an A-. Would not be surprised to go 2-1 or possibly 3-0 with this deck by any means. So let's go ahead and queue up our 9 and then our 8. And spread out our Flight on attack gems here to the Pappet and the Deepwood Draka. Go ahead and grab Grandfather Elk, check our things, all good, save it up. Thank you as always for watching, folks. This has been Jeff Hogood with Draft Today. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, to like it on YouTube and share it on your social media. You can also support my content in a couple different ways here by using the banner here above the stream, as I just realized I had my stream set up in the wrong thing for this entire video, so I apologize for that. if my portrait blocked any of the pictures. Sorry, need to be more careful. HexPromo.com will buy and sell you Hex TCG singles. Use the code Jeff5, you get 5% off of your order there. I'll be back tomorrow with another draft today. Thank you for hanging out.